Hello and welcome to Rain's Kitchen and Garden. My name is Rain. Today I'm going to show you how I put together these chew toys for my dogs. This is the brand Kong. If you've ever heard anyone refer to a Kong toy, there are plenty of them, but it's the brand name, and most of them are in this shape and they come in various sizes. This is the large size, I believe. And the idea is that you fill it with food and then you give it to the dog and they chew. And they try to get the food out of it. There are two colors here. There's the red and the black. The black is supposed to be more durable for heavy chewers. Like I have a boxer pit bull mix and her name is Miley and she's got a bite on her. So I give her the black one, but even so you can kind of tell she's been able to kind of pick the pieces off, and they're very well chewed. And I have fives because I have 5 dogs. So I'm going to set these aside for now. And I'm going to show you what I put in these Kong toys. First, I'm going to put on my gloves because I'm going to use my hands to squish everything together. These are great because chewing helps them to relieve stress. If they have anxiety, it keeps them busy so that they don't get bored, and it's good for their teeth as well. So the first thing I'm putting in is I have some chicken breast that I had previously baked and put through the food processor, so it's in little pieces. I've got some rice here. This is white rice. I would usually use whole grain, but this is all I could find at the store. So I've got white rice, and I know it looks very white right now with my lights. But I'm going to add also some vegetables. This is mashed carrot and sweet potato. I just boiled the carrots and the sweet potatoes, and I used my potato masher, and I just kind of mashed them up into chunks. And I know this doesn't look very appetizing, but this is mashed banana, and it's that color because I had it in the freezer. Oh, my cat's here. Well, you're going to get something too, don't worry. So what I'm going to do is kind of squish all that up together and make it into a thick consistency where it sticks. And I'll show you what I mean. And trust me, the easiest way is to do it with your hands. And I don't have any specific amount of each one. I always kind of wing it. But what you can start off with is a small amount of the vegetables and fruit to make sure that you have enough stickiness. Because what we want to do in the end is when we go like this, we don't want it to fall apart. We want it to stick together. So in this case, I may add more rice and I may add more chicken, but I want to see once it's all combined. Because if it's not sticky enough, it's going to fall right out of the Kong, and it's not going to be a challenge for them to get the food out. All right, let's see. That's too wet for me. So I'm going to add a little bit more rice and a little bit more chicken. So here's a little more chicken. I emptied out what I had in the freezer, and maybe just a little bit more rice, just to thicken it up a little bit. This rice is still slightly frozen. No, my cat, his name is Baby Oscar. He is circling around me. He loves this stuff too. He's not a picky cat. So let's see if we can get it to a nice sticky consistency. Otherwise, I'll add more rice and I'll keep going until I get that sort of stick. It's getting there though. You can use so many different things in the Kong recipes. Oh my goodness. Usually I use canned pumpkin instead of the sweet potato and carrots. It depends what's available, you know. Not the pumpkin pie filling, just the pumpkin puree. It's just pure pumpkin. They love that. And you can use any kind of meat. You can put in different kinds of fruit, blueberries, cranberries. They like that. There's also yogurt, applesauce, homemade applesauce with no added sugar and salt and stuff like that. You can look up, and I'll put some links in the description for Kong recipes from the actual company. They have a lot of recipes there. And you can always look up on credible sources if you're not sure what you can give your dog. Just look up, can I give my dog onion? The answer is absolutely no. But you know what I mean. You could look that up. So let's see. That's what I'm looking for. A consistency where you can make kind of a ball. It's a little wet still, but I think that'll work. Okay? So what I'm going to do is set this aside and start filling up my Kongs. All the dogs are in the kitchen with me. The first thing I do usually is I have some dog kibble here. This is a good quality dog kibble. I use Nutrients Sub-Zero. It's a grain-free dog kibble that I give to them. The reason why I bought grain-free to begin with was because one of my late dogs had urinary crystals in her bladder, and apparently giving her a grain-free diet would have helped those crystals not to reform, and it worked. So she didn't have to go on medication. So I just kept buying the same one because it's a good quality dog food. I could put the link in the description too. I just put a little bit of kibble in there because with 5 dogs, it gets quite expensive to put all this together. And I have 5 Kongs here, but I normally fill 20 at a time. So I've got 4 sets of 5 that go into the freezer. And that's what I do. Once they're filled, I put them in zip top bags and I put them right into the freezer. Because when they're frozen, it's more challenging for them to get the food out, and they chew a little longer, they're busier longer, and it gives mommy a break. So now, why don't I it is a bit of a messy job, so I'm just gonna fill her up with the Kong filling, and I'm gonna pack it in there. Make sure it's really tight, there's no air pockets, and I'm gonna stick these in the freezer. I wanna give these to them today. It's morning as I film this, so they're probably gonna be in the deep freezer for a good 6 hours, and then I'm gonna give it to them. But usually I leave them in overnight to make sure they're really nice and frozen. All right, so that's packed in very well, you see? And you can also stick some in here. It's a little more challenging. I used to use a knife and a spoon, and oh, it's so much easier using your hands. Now, one of my dogs, her name is Raven. She's a Rottweiler. She's allergic to peanut butter, and usually I put a little bit of peanut butter on this end for the other dogs. So I'm making hers first. So hers is done. And I'll start with Miley's, because she's a heavy chewer. This will be one video where you probably won't hear the dogs at all because they are on their best behavior because they know what I'm doing. The only thing that I think will get them barking is if a car drives by on my road. I live in a very rural area in the mountains. I have woods all around me, and if anyone drives by, the dogs freak out. But it's not very often that people drive by around here. It's my little rural paradise. I think there was a dog hair. I'm not sure. I saw a dog hair kind of fly by there. So once a week, this is what I usually do. I fill up all 20 of the Kongs. They're in the freezer, so for 4 days they have their nice little snack. And in another video, I'm going to show you another food reward toy that I give to them, because I try to give something to them every single day, you know, because they deserve it. I used to only give my dogs a home-cooked diet, and I used to, I made a deal with the local grocer on pork tenderloin. That's when I only had 3 dogs, though. The cats, too. Actually, I had 3 dogs and 3 cats. They were eating a home-cooked meal. And I did a lot of research on the nutrients they needed, especially the cats. And the dogs had a mix of pork tenderloin, brown rice, yellow and green beans, carrots, peas, some eggs, and all the supplements that they needed for a balanced diet, and they loved that food so much. But with 5 dogs now and 2 cats, oh, I can't do it. I can't afford it with the prices now. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, so they're filled up. And for these 4, as I mentioned, I am going to put a little bit of peanut butter at the end. If for nothing else, but just so they smell it. And I just have some natural peanut butter that I put at the very end of the Kong here, and I kind of try to push it in, because usually this part is the last part that they can access or pull out, so I make it the best reward for them. They love peanut butter, you see? I have to make sure I keep ravens separate. And in it goes the peanut butter. And I'm holding the bottom, by the way, as I'm filling this, so that none of that filling falls out. And also, depending on what food I have in the fridge, I'll give them other stuff. Whatever is convenient for filling the Kongs, as long as it's good for them. You know, if I have leftover fish, sometimes I eat roasted potatoes, as long as there's no salt and pepper or a lot of olive oil and stuff like that. I'll give them some of those things too, just to fill the Kongs. So those are filled. And let me move some stuff over here. I keep my old zip top bags. I wash them, and this one has been used a lot, so it says R-A-V. It used to say Raven, but I keep hers separate so that there's no peanut butter. I don't know if I mentioned that, but we think she might be allergic to peanut butter. Not sure. When I used to give her peanut butter before, she started scratching a lot, and when I stopped giving her peanut butter, she didn't scratch anymore. So 2 + 2 = 4, if you ask me. So there we go. The Kongs are all ready in the zip top. And I'm going to seal this. And into the freezer it goes. Now, I do have a lot of extra Kong fillings. So what I do is I put this in a Tupperware, I label it, and I put it into the deep freezer for the next time. But usually this, I would have probably used most of this for all 20 of the Kongs. But every time I fill them, I always give them some, especially the cats. I give them a little bit, and they absolutely love this stuff. Yes, it's coming, Oscar, hold on. And I'm going to give some to the dogs too. This is baby Oscar, and he's going to have a little bit of the Kong filling. Do you want some, Oscar? Do you want some? Yeah, you want some? Here you go, sweetheart. That's all for you. He loves it. And here come the dogs. They have Kongs for cats, but I bought one for Oscar. He was interested at first, but then he lost interest very quickly and got bored. What about this, Oscar? It's your little Kong toy. Yeah, you're gonna have to work at it. I've never given a Kong to a cat. But you see how tiny it is. Let's see if he takes it on his own. It's stuffed with chicken and pumpkin puree and a bit of white rice, just all mixed together. And it's been in the freezer because it's supposed to challenge them. Five minutes later, completely lost interest. I can't say I'm surprised. Okay, they're all ready. They're all very excited. You guys are going to get to see me in my Snoopy PJ pants today. It's Saturday morning. And we're going to have some Kongs. Are you guys ready? This is for Raven. There you go, Raven. She's so lazy. This is for Miley. Ali-Fay. That's all for you. This is for Miley. There you go. This is for Lucy. Hold on. This is for Lucy. Good girl. This is for Ali-Fay. There you go. And this is for Benny Bear. There you go, Benny. I usually freeze them, but the way they're looking at me, I have to give it to them right away. So they're going to eat through these really quickly. And usually what I do is I put some of them in cages and some of them can be free because there's a little bit of territoriality that goes along with it. So this is the safest way for me to do it here. So I've got, wait, this is for Benny. There you go, Benny. Ali-Fay, in the cage. In the cage. Come on. There you go. There we go. Miley, come here. That's for Miley. There's Miley. Okay. Raven. Oh, you dropped it. Smart girl. Here, why don't you take it over here? And I'll give this one to Lucy. There you go, Lucy.